Hi, welcome to Property Law 101. I'm Sara Bronin, and I created the series to help you understand the basics of property law. We cover 4 fundamental questions about property law, and today we are talking about the 4th, which is holding interest in property, and specifically about an interest that I think leaves something to desired, and that is the life estate. So what is a life estate? It is an estate in land that terminates upon the death of a named person, sometimes persons, usually, but not always, the same person as the holder of the life estate. It is a finite interest in land. So let me give you some examples of life estate transfers. So for example, a property can be transferred by O, the original grantor, to A for life, or to A for life and then to O, or to A for life and then to B. So the commonality between all of these grants is simply that A in each of them gets an interest for life, for the duration of A's life. That is the present possessory estate, the life estate. In addition, though, to A's present interest, there are future interests which are created in parties other than A. If the grant is silent as to who gets the property after a life estate, O has retained a reversion in the property after A's death. You also saw an example which specifically named O as the holder of the future interest. If the grant indicates that B or some other third party will get the property after A's death, like to A for life, then to B, then B has a remainder interest. In that scenario, the one I just mentioned, B has a remainder in fee simple because once A dies, there are no further restrictions on B's ownership of the property. So B's future interest is a remainder in fee simple. This remainder is indefeasibly vested. It cannot be voided for any reason. So there are other types of remainders which are also defeasible. So we just gave the example of one that is indefeasibly vested. There are also remainders that are defeasible, meaning they can be cut short. Consider, for example, to A for life, then to A's son if he graduates from high school by age 19. So in this example, of course, A has a life estate. A's son has a remainder because that's what you call a future interest in someone other than the original grantor. But here it's a contingent remainder because there is a condition on it, namely that A's son must graduate from high school by 19. So in that same scenario, what happens if A's son is 20 and has not graduated from high school and A has just died? In that scenario, A's son gets nothing. Because A's son did not satisfy the condition, O has a reversion. So take the same scenario again. So what happens if A's son does not graduate from high school yet, and he's only 18 when A dies? O has a reversion during the time, that year, between the time A dies and the time A's son graduates. A's son will obtain the property when and if he graduates before age 19. If he never does that, O keeps the property forever. So let's now consider a different question. What happens if A, the holder of the life estate, sells the property to C? C does not get the land forever. This is not a clever trick. Once A dies, C is forced to relinquish the land to whoever is entitled to it, the original grantor with a reversion or a third party with a remainder interest. C's life estate is called a life estate per autre vie, which is tied to the lifespan of someone else. So there is a good rationale for not giving C the property forever to try to defeat the life estate. And that's because we always want to honor the intent of the grantor to the extent it's practical. O wanted A to have the power to enjoy the property during A's lifetime, but not longer. So to summarize here, a life estate is a type of freehold estate where one party receives an interest in the property for the duration of his or her or their lifetime or another party's lifetime, and another party or parties receives a future interest. That interest may be a reversion in the grantor or a remainder to someone else. This future interest becomes a present possessory interest after the life estate holder dies. I will leave it there. I'd love to hear from you, whether on Twitter or through my website, where you can sign up to my mailing list, and hope to see you next time.